Hi everyone, this is the game plan. It is Monday, you're raring to go. One day down, 4 to go in this week. How about that?
Yep.
Guys, thank you for joining us today. I want to say all the best to Angela Okutoi. Yeah. She's been in training at the Vavasori Tennis Academy in Italy for the last couple of weeks. On Friday the 27th, that is when she will travel to Roland Garros, yes, to take part in the junior section of the Paris Open. So all the best to Angela Okutoi. But now, whether we like it or not, whether you agree or not, football is the most loved sport in the world. You cannot argue about that. Of course, congratulations to Manchester City for winning the Premier League, but that aside, and we'll get to that in the second half. Not only is football a diverse experience, it's also multifaceted as well. Now, there's a chance that the FIFA World Cup will be won by an African country. Don't laugh. As long as you're there, there's a chance, guys. And this is what will unite us. Football unites as we cheer on together as brothers and sisters. Now, this is the exciting news this week. On Thursday, yes, the trophy, the FIFA World Cup trophy will be here in Nairobi this Thursday and Friday. And Coca-Cola is giving you lucky Kenyans a chance to view it. Now, what you need to do is to buy any big Coke, Fanta or Sprite, the 1 liter, 1.5 or the 2 liter, the ones with the green cap. Now, under the green cap, there is a code. Text that code to 40111. The code under the green cap of a Coke, Sprite or Fanta, text the code to 4011 and you could stand a chance to join us on the Coca-Cola trophy, on the FIFA World Cup trophy tour. Yes, Coca-Cola, believing is magic. Now, this campaign has been authorized by the BCLB license number 002732. How about that?
Yep.
Guess what?
What?
I'll be there.
Ah, for sure.
Like you'll be there alone.
No, with lucky Kenyans who win.
Of course.
Anyway, guys, football is, of course, the most loved sport in the world. And today we're still discussing football. Unfortunately, in Kenya, it can also be the most depressing sport in the world.
Yes.
Joining us today is the chairman of Mathare United, Bob Monroe. Bob, are you there?
Yes, I am, Carol. Good morning.
Bob, good morning to you,
Bob.
or is it good evening to you? Football, of course, the most loved sport in the world, but Kenya, it can be so frustrating, Bob.
Yes. I tell my friends these days when I meet them, when they say, how are you? I tell them, don't ask me that question, or to anybody in football, unless you have at least an hour for the answer.
Now, of course, over the last couple of years, Kenyan football has been going through a very difficult time. But in the last 6 months to 1 year, especially after COVID hit, things have gone from bad to worse, Bob. Recently, we saw Mathare United unable to honor 3 fixtures, relegated by the FKF Caretaker Committee. I just need to know all your views on what has been happening in Kenyan football over the last couple of months in particular.
Okay, Carol. Well, actually, as I pointed out in earlier press statements and that and discussions with you, the rain started hitting us particularly, or pouring on us particularly 5 years ago with the expansion of the league. So what we've been experiencing over the last 5 years, and especially the last couple of years, is a significant drop in income plus a significant increase in costs. And so the deficit gap in the majority of KPL clubs was just getting wider and wider. And it started with this forced expansion of the league, then the loss of Supersport as a partner in KPL, then the loss of our title sponsor. Then we were forced to play in 2019 a whole season plus an extra half season, which of course increases your cost by 50%. And most of us are operating and barely managing on an annual budget. So to have to squeeze an annual budget into a budget for, in effect, a season and a half also hit us hard. And then that was followed by COVID, where we had a 5-month.
What I'd like to ask, Bob, did you raise these issues earlier? Was it something that, as you're saying, it didn't spring on us, But did we raise these issues as we're developing?
These issues that we've been discussing these issues
Yes.
for 2 years, Roy. Where have you been?
No, I'm asking, did we raise it to the ministry from day one?
Yes, yes, I have been in contact with senior officials of the ministry, including even the CS, over the last 5 years with several senior politicians and also with the FKF.
So no excuses.
As well, and providing detailed charts on the imminent collapse of half of the Premier League clubs.
Because one of the key issues for me in the last year and a half was when FKF decided to take the league away from the KPL and run it privately. I know we've had this discussion before, Bob, in terms of the best practices in how to manage football. What are the best practices and where did we go wrong?
Yes, because right now, to give a further example, if you're focusing on the last 1 to 2 years, last year between January and October, we the clubs, all clubs, received an average of 960,000 a month.
Okay.
Okay, so that 9 million is the difference for many of our clubs, especially the community-based clubs, between managing to continue playing and financial collapse.
Yeah.
So then the caretaker committee took over, and all of a sudden it wasn't 960,000 a month, it was 300,000 a month. Then we got that was announced in early December. We got that in late January, or late December, we got 300,000, and then in mid-January we got 300,000, and then we got nothing. Now, I recently made a statement pointing this out, that the money that we should have been getting in February, March, and April, we didn't get until the day before the caretaker committee finished.
Which is like 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Was 4 days after we forfeited our third match. Now, if we had got it earlier, we probably would have been able to manage the costs and not forfeit any matches, never mind the third match. So my concern was we took a 70% drop in income, and at the same time we didn't get it until it was too late. So it was basically too little, too late. And my complaint was that the caretaker committee had not provided the funds they promised to provide in a responsible and a reliable and timely manner. And then some journalists blew that up as if I was blaming the caretaker committee for everything, which is of course not true. But they are at fault in not living up to their commitment to pay those grants on a monthly basis. As a consequence, my club ran out of money. I had to make a choice. I was nearly 2 months in arrears. Players were under pressure from their landlords. Do I use the remaining funds we have to cover the costs of the remaining matches, or to relieve pressure on my players? And I made the first decision.
Just to explain, Bob, to those people who don't understand where the money was coming from, the reason you could get that 960 last year was because there was a title sponsor and there was a broadcast sponsor. The title sponsor backed out, I think, in around August last year. The broadcast sponsor, once Nick went, they were like, okay, we don't know who we're dealing with, we don't know what's happening. So the broadcast sponsor left as well. Someone I spoke to in the caretaker committee, my friend Ali Amour, was telling me, but these clubs are supposed to be independent. They're supposed to go out there and look for their money. But my concern, Bob, is we're not creating an environment to invite corporate Kenya into football. Even the caretaker committee is not creating an environment where a corporate looking in can say, that league looks stable, Kenyan football is going somewhere. I want to now partner with a club. So as much as the caretaker committee is defending itself and saying it's not their job to give you money, they haven't helped corporate Kenya to come in. And in the interim, they probably need to inject funds into the league to keep it afloat.
Yes, I think that's
and
what
not
happened.
Just 300.
Yes, exactly. Yes, when they took over FKF, they took over all the operations of FKF.
Yeah.
And they put in writing in early December, in a correspondence I had with them, that the sports ministry and the FKF would ensure that no club in the Premier League would drop out because of financial reasons. But that turned to be more words than action. And the money that they had promised, as I pointed out, didn't come until it was too late. So you're right, Carol, in that the reputation, not only have the conditions of football got worse, but the reputation of football has been significantly declining year after year after year. So to give you an example, I don't think any other KPL chairman in the last 3-4 years has approached more than 5, maybe 10 companies. We have had serious discussions with 47 companies in a wide range of sectors. Now, COVID hit them very hard. So basically, since COVID started, most private companies here are in either still struggling with the impact of COVID, or trying to recover from COVID. So it's not coincidental that in the last, there hasn't been a non-betting company sponsor coming into Kenyan football for 4 years.
Wow.
And in the last 3 years, there's only been one new betting company. And the others have stayed in. Now there's another problem that you face as the club chairman. Signing a contract, but to give you an order of magnitude.
We only have about 2 minutes left, Bob. Huh? And
Okay.
I still want
You
to
need
get
a minimum of 4 to 4.5 million a month to be a mid-table club.
Okay.
So that's around 45, 50 million a year.
Yeah.
If you sign with a betting company and they're not giving you 45 to 50 million a year, it's a suicide pact, because no other company is going to share the shirt with a betting company.
Correct.
Not an airline, not a insurance company, not a bank. They're all about no risk.
Okay.
And betting is all about risk taking.
Right.
So the odds of getting, and these are all facts that even the government should appreciate as well, and I've been pointing them out frequently. It's virtually impossible to get a new sponsor. And if you do, it's a betting company. And if they're not covering your full costs, then you're going to run out of money.
But it's not like the other companies are lining up to come and sponsor either. That's a problem.
Exactly.
What can we do, Bob? With a minute and a half left,
yes.
what can we do?
What's our priority at the moment? What's the first thing we should inject? If we'd say this is the one thing we could start with.
Like in Zimbabwe, when they banned, when they through government action, they were banned. The government promised and put in significant money to the clubs so they could
Immediately.
Yes, and because Mathare United is not the only club. There's 7 or 8 other clubs, and news reports yesterday, for example, that one of those clubs, their players haven't been paid for 6 months. We're in this situation with 1 to 2 months arrears. So, but I also think we're looking at the wrong issue. We're asking the wrong question. The question that's being asked in the committee seems to be, how can we amend this constitution to align it with the Sports Act? The question we should be asking is, what are the best practices in football worldwide, in the most successful countries?
Tried and tested.
And how does it compare with Kenya? To give you an example, in Europe, in most of the UEFA countries, the clubs are all shareholders. They're all private companies.
Yes.
Here, we only have a few who are. 8 of our clubs are owned by government. There's not a single club in Europe which is owned by a government. Stadia, which is a major income earner. Here, the stadia are owned by government. In Europe, all of the stadia are owned by clubs, or in the case of Wembley, it's owned by the Football Association.
Yes.
So here, which has also increased our cost, our 2 national stadia have been closed virtually for 5 years for renovation. And those renovations after 5 years still don't meet FIFA and CAF standards. But that forced us to play in Machakos, in Thika, or on poor fields like Ruaka, where we got more injuries. So our costs went up. You never played at Tika without leaving both teams without at least one or two injured players. And then no fans allowed in the stadia until recently. So all the external circumstances have conspired to put half of our Premier League clubs in a critical
one key thing,
situation.
Bob, one key thing we have to do is change the perception and the image, because that is what keeps fans away, that's what keeps corporate Kenya away. As we beg this government, don't ask me why we are begging a government to save its football, but as we beg the government to save the football, somehow we need to change the perception of football away from leaders that just want to steal and or corrupt or whatever it is, because that is the perception. Corporates are like, if I give my money, it will not go to the right place. It will not go to its actual
use, yes.
Can I make a radical suggestion?
Yes. As
we
wrap.
Look at the UEFA countries. How many of their football associations are societies, as in Kenya? Very few, virtually none. They're all private companies, which of course makes the private sector more comfortable with them.
Correct.
With dealing with
run
them,
by
absolutely.
a proper board of directors.
Yeah.
And so the same applies to the FA. Most football
but that recommendation is in the FKF Caretaker Committee, that they somehow go back to the where it's run by the way it was run by the KPL, by the Kenya Premier League. It's
the
just how you make up
the league.
Yes, it's just how you make up that Kenya Premier League Secretariat
but
is
not,
what is a bit different to how it was in the past.
But not just the league, the FA itself. You do not, in professionally run football, elect your top football officials.
Bob, we need to go. We need to go. We're out of time. Mathare is being relegated. Are you going to the nationwide or you're appealing?
To the nationwide
to the National Super League.
National Super League.
Or you're appealing the relegation?
Yeah, there was a report that we're appealing it. We haven't appealed it. We have accepted the fact that we ran out of money and we put it where it should go, which is basically to the players and their families. And so it's not the end of the road for Mathare United, as everybody.
So you will compete in the National Super League.
Of course, it'll be the start of a new challenge and a new journey.
Although still with the same financial issues. Still with the same financial issues of trying to keep the club afloat. I just wish you the best.
Wish you the best. It's sad but honorable that you're trying to do that. It's shocking that the government has done this anyway, but it is what it is.
Bob, thanks for speaking to us today. We have to let you go there. We're out of time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Whoa, this is really it's difficult to take in to see clubs going like this. But guys, we're going to talk more about football in the second half of the show. I do need to remind everybody that over the weekend we were at the Nyali Golf Club in Mombasa, where the Safaricom Golf Tour was into its 8th leg. I do need to say congratulations to Kailesh Chauhan. He emerged the overall winner in the corporate tournament. There was Aiden Jamal and Alyssa Jamal for emerging the overall winners in the junior tournament. Remember, the Safaricom Golf Tour is going all over the country. I believe we're in Kericho next weekend, not this Saturday. Some great talent on display over the weekend. And then yesterday, there were the kids' clinics that were happening with children who go to schools around the Nyali Golf Club. Remember, those who show promise will be adopted by the Junior Golf Foundation in conjunction with Safaricom Golf Tour and nurtured. Their talent will be nurtured. All about taking talent to the people. Guys, if you want more information to see how you or your child can register for the Safaricom Golf Tour or the free clinics, go to golftour.safaricom.co.ke. That's golftour.safaricom.co.ke. We're going to take a breather. When we come back, Roy just managed to avoid Conference League.